longer referring to it as job hopping, okay? We're not calling it that. It is skill hopping. And that's what I said in my recent interview with CNBC. The premise of the article and the interview was talking about how 95% of Americans plan to look for a new job in 2024. Primarily, how to skill hop strategically. Before I get into the how to skill hop strategically, don't let anyone shame you for changing jobs. Historically, younger people tend to change their jobs more often because they're trying to figure out what they want to do. This specific data looked at workers who changed their jobs who were aged 22 to 29. It starts at 1996 and ends in 2014, and you can actually see that the percentage of 20-somethings that changed their jobs in the 90s was actually higher than it was in 2015, so millennials. Every generation says the same thing about every generation. Oh, no one stays in a job, no one wants to work, blah, blah, blah. The data is here, okay? People who were in their 20s in the 90s are now in their 50s. So don't let anyone try and guilt you into staying in a job trying to say that you're job hopping. Again, we don't call it that. We call it skill hopping. Moving on. In the interview, I spoke about my experiences, of course, and all the reasons why I chose to skill hop. I've always had this goal of working for myself, of being an independent consultant, which I am now. In order to do that, I had to work certain jobs so I could get a specific set of skills to do this in my industry. I didn't know how to get clients. I didn't know about conferences. I didn't even know what broadened skill set I needed to have in order to really call myself an independent consultant or to be efficient at being an independent consultant in my industry. So I worked at a consulting firm. At that consulting firm, I was able to get a lot of those skills that I needed. I went to different companies to get different therapeutic experience because I work in clinical research and development. And once I felt like I had enough skills obtained at each company, that's how I knew when I wanted to leave. I've taken pay cuts and I've taken on way more responsibilities than I was being paid for, but I knew it was all for a purpose. A big part of consulting is having a very strong network, so I knew that every single job that I took, every boss that I had, I thought to myself that this could possibly be someone who calls me back to do work for them in the future, and actually that has happened. Skill hopping and doing it effectively and efficiently is truly centered in understanding what your end goal is. Beautiful example, one of my family friends had a beauty salon and they ended up selling it. After they sold the beauty salon, they realized they wanted to get into more administrative roles like project management. Do they have any project management experience? No, but what they've done is they've taken jobs that don't pay all that well, considering that this person used to own a business. Jobs that don't pay all that well because they know it will pay very well in experience. And once they get the experience that they need from that job, they'll go and get another job to help them acquire whatever skill that they need. And then the next skill, and then the next skill, until they're in a position where they no longer have to skill hop. They have an end goal, so the only thing on their mind is obtaining the right skills. Now, I know people are gonna say, well, how do you know when to skill hop? When's the right time? If you have to ask somebody else whether or not you should skill hop, you're not ready to do it. You have to be self-aware enough to know when you're ready to move on to the next thing. If you feel like you have adequately obtained whatever skills you were looking for, then go on to the next job. But no one's gonna be able to tell you when is the right time. Only you can tell yourself that.